Happy Monday, everybody. I'm so glad that you were back for the podcast. I'm super thankful. Today, I'm actually sitting with my best friend in the whole wide world. And I know I say like a lot of people are my favorite, but Sami Williams is truly a gem of a friend, and I'm so thankful for her. So we're going to be talking about calling and also just hearing a lot of Sami's testimony and what the Lord has taught her and is teaching her, and I know that you're going to find yourself encouraged. So without further ado, welcome back to A Line Inside podcast. We are recording live with the one, the only. You guys, today's conversation is going to be so impactful, and the reason I know that is because every time I sit with my best friend, I truly feel just so seen and known, and truly the Lord has brought us together, and it's been clear that He's held our relationship and our friendship together. And so a little bit of how I met Sami, just give you a little backstory, not anything crazy, but we had both gotten into Evangel University on the same scholarship, Ministry Leaders of Tomorrow scholarship. And guys, Dad and I had stalked Sami's Instagram and we were like, this girl is so cool. And she like had her preaching videos, and she had like, she's really big into FCA. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to be friends with her. She's so cool. Found out she was on the same scholarship as me. I was like, perfect. So we were going to like a dinner, and Sami, tell the story from your side.
Taylor was just very energetic the first time that I met her. Yeah, she was just the most bubbly girl I've ever seen. And she just came up to me and she was like, Are you Sami? Are you Sami Williams? And I was like, yes, I am.
She had no idea.
I had no idea who Taylor was. And she just went on to tell her, like, asked me all of my life story pretty much in like our first conversation, like immediate depth, like the moment that I met her, which is actually my favorite thing about you, just because it's like immediate depth. I don't have to like search for it, and I just like see the Lord immediately in you. And so yeah, our first interaction was very deep immediately on both sides, and like immediate testimonies, immediate like it just fit. And I've never really had a friend that just so immediately seemed to like understand and just fit so right, you know? And we've never really struggled with conversation. Like we've never had any like awkward moments even. Like it just felt like my best friend, like was just given to me as a gift. And so, yeah, we've been best friends ever since that.
Ever since that. And it's cool because she really has been with me through like the start of this podcast and like seeing my heart for it, and like so it's just so crazy that she's like even here. And so thank you for being here. I'm super excited. I know a lot of people are sitting there and they're thinking, well, one, no one really prepares you for how many friendship changes you go through in college, and the amount of times that you think you're going to be best friends forever and like you're not. And like learning to hold friendships with an open hand and like seasonal friendships is like such a hard thing. And I don't know, what would you say to somebody who is like kind of watching some friendship shifts happen in their life? And whether you're in high school, middle school, college, whatever it is, like you're watching your friends change, like what do you do?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's also a very hard question. I think walking as a Christian and like walking through friendships or relationships or like school or whatever you're doing, it really is just about having an open hand like to the Lord, and just truly living with like your hands open. And so everything that you have currently, like right now, like I have great friendships, like I have Taylor, I have relationships, I have like my schooling, all the things that I'm doing. And as much as I believe that those are gifts from God, like also it's about living openly so that the Lord, number one, can like bless the things in your hand, and it's not anything of like my doing, but also it's being okay and being content that like things might move and things might shift around, but like as long as my hands are open and my eyes are on the Lord, like that's all you need. And so with friendships, I think friendships are so needed, and community is so needed just to walk together. And so there should be like a tight grip on those, and a deep care and intentionality with them. But also just like keeping your eyes on the Lord if those things do shift and change. And yeah, in friendships, like just looking for the people who love the Lord, so that whenever you have those shiftings, it's not like,
That's so good.
why is this happening? Or like,
Yeah.
you know, why is this so hard? Like it's still going to be hard with like Christian friends. But at the same time, like if both people have trust in the Lord, like you're just following where he leads.
So true.
Yeah. So just living with open hands, really, and just learning what that truly means to walk in that way. I think.
Sami was definitely one of the first people that at least brought it up to my attention that I have a tendency to grasp onto relationships. And that comes from a lot of just like, I've lost people before and it's been really painful. And I think it has been because there's been a lot of like hold on my end. And so honestly, just being like, Lord, like if that friend chooses to like go, or like we grow distant or whatever it is, like what did I learn from that friend? And like, why was it needed in that season? Because like the Lord knows, you know, like I had a group of 3 really close friends. It was 4 of us in high school, and we're like no longer super close, but I wouldn't say that the Lord wasted that. Like I needed it, and the Lord knew like those were my people for high school, and I don't know what I would have done without them. And so just like learning to look at it with like not only grief, but also like, thank you, Lord. Like, thank you that you allowed that to happen. And like, I learned so much from that. And then who do I have now?
Yeah. And not letting your eyes fall on like what is out of your hands or like what other people have. But like the Lord is always giving you something. And maybe that's just his presence. And maybe that's just like the closeness of his friendship. But like you never have nothing. And that's like the beauty of walking as a Christian and like following Jesus, is because you never have anything like not in your hand. Like you always at least have the Lord, and he's more than enough. So
enough. And there might be some people that are watching and they're like, oh, Sami, like I want a friendship like you and Taylor. Or like I also just like don't know if the friends that I have around me are good friendships. I think my 3 younger sisters, shout out Emily, Haley, and McKenna. I love you guys. But I think about them and the questions that they wrestle with of like what qualities make a good friend. And so like, what are some things, I know you touched on like love of the Lord, but like what are some good qualities of a friend?
Yeah. Well, number 1, I mean, just that they love the Lord. Like there's certain people that you can sense that just have like the Spirit of the Lord just like on them. And that's something whenever I met Taylor for the first time, like just immediately could sense that, and like immediately could feel her love and her joy. And just kind of the fruits like running off of people. And so, yeah, like can you see that in someone? Like I think you can feel that, you know, with certain people, and those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. And with that, like, are they going to church? Like, are they like, you know, following Jesus? Whenever you talk to them, like, are they bringing up the Lord? Is it like only shallow conversations, or is it like, do they know the Lord? What's in their heart? And if that matches kind of what's in your heart, I feel like that's a great like first step to a friendship. Also a little bit more practically, like I have always been a listener in my friendships, like all through high school. I was always the one listening. And that's still usually like where I love to be, is just like listening to people and listening to stories and like putting in my input. But in high school, I found myself a lot of times just with friends who knew I could listen, and so they were just like
you just
talking nonstop, and I just sat there and like just tried to listen, and like I loved it, and it was like a, you know, how to be Christ in that relationship by listening. But also like it's great that I could be Christ in that and listen, but like did that relationship really have anything for me other than a ministry? Like it's a tough balance. And so you really need friendships that, yes, you can listen and be there for, And it doesn't always have to be this equal, like, okay, she shares something, I share something, like she has to listen like the same amount. Because there's different seasons for different things.
Yeah.
Like some seasons are going to be really hard, and one friend's going to need a lot of your like
Time
being
and-
there and
yeah.
time and commitment to that. But it shouldn't always feel like this huge unbalanced scale of like, man, I have to sit and listen so much and I never get to talk about what's going on in my life. Like friendships should be a like semi-balance.
Yeah.
And again, different seasons call for different things. But yeah, is it balanced conversation? And also just like basic things. Like, are they kind? Like, do they make fun of you?
Right.
Let's talk
so
about
true.
it. Like, if your friends are constantly poking at you and like
Ugh.
it's just like their personality, I personally can't handle it. Like I can't do it. And it's like the same thing of relationship. Like, okay, like, are you meeting my love languages? You know, it's a little bit different, but like words of affirmation, like different things that show love, you know, to one another and to your friends. And so, like, are they intentional with that? Or are they just, like,
That's good.
not being kind?
Yeah. Oof. That's good, Sammy. I feel like one thing, too, in, like, Christian culture, it feels if you are wanting or expecting anything from a friend, it seems like you're selfish because, like, the narrative of Christian culture, right, is, like, give and pour yourself out. And while I think like it still is like a servant heart and to like honor a person above yourself, like all those things are important, I think it's not selfish to want your closest circle to be people that pour life into you.
Yeah.
Like I think for a while, like I thought my mission was just like pour out. Like, I wanted to like be the listener, be the like servant hearted friend and all the things. And I didn't really realize that like there was no one that had like done that for me. And I think that college was a huge like realization of like, whoa, like there are equally yoked and there are friendships that want to love you as much as you're loving them. And so like you are worthy of the same love that you are giving to your friends.
Yeah.
Like truly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard to find those people because I've also had seasons like where I don't have like those people of depth. And like in high school, like I went to a public high school. Like I didn't have anyone who was like really matching me spiritually. And so those seasons are really hard. And honestly, I feel like it's really about just like praying through those seasons and just asking like, Lord, will you put someone around me that even I don't expect to like be my, like I wouldn't pick to be my closest friend, but like they have the heart of God, you know? But it can be really hard in those seasons where you're still looking and still trying to find people that can match you and walk with you at the same pace of the Lord. It's really hard.
It's tough.
But they are out there. It's a lot of prayer. And again, like if you're in a season that it's just not around you, like my closest friend is the Lord. Like he always will be.
Yeah.
And so like he is with you in that. And you know, I believe he'll put people around you as gifts, even if they're not the people that you expect.
So true. Yeah, and something I've really been wrestling with in myself, too. Like, I just had a moment, like, a few months ago where I was just like, Lord, I'm just, like, struggling to feel seen. A lot of, like, my closest friends have, like, boyfriends and relationships, and just like, oh, Lord, like, I'm just frustrated because I feel like I have all this time and all this love to give and, like, no one to give it to. And the Lord was like, Taylor, like, you can love your friends well and, like, you don't need to like expect it back. Like while we were talking about like the balance of like you can and you should with your close people, also like be a friend, be the kind of friend that you want to have, like be the kind of friend you want to have. And so choose to go the extra mile for somebody, choose to make someone a priority, choose to show them the unconditional love of Christ. And I think like we make it a lot about like I want to be seen, but like also make your friends feel seen. And a lot of times friends come that way.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So kind of switching gears a little bit, Sammy had talked about like callings and the aspect of like me and Sammy really felt like our same passions or like the same.
Yeah.
And the first thing we kind of talked about was like, oh my gosh, we want to travel around and we want to speak and we want to preach. Preaching was a big part of kind of the launching of Sami's ministry and kind of where she felt the Lord. And so coming into college, like that was a lot of like her heart. And Sami, would you just take us back to kind of how that launch happened?
Yeah.
What season did you find yourself in before that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll just share a little bit of my like testimony, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the things that I walked through, and had to navigate really brought me to this like full view of what a calling is. And just a lot of like changes of mind through that. Like the word calling has changed so much for me since I've been in college. And really in every single season it's changed. And so, yeah, just backtracking a little bit. I've been like a Christian my entire life. My parents were in church, like had a great community around me, went to the same church pretty much my whole life. But around 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, I found myself falling into a really hard season. A lot of the things I was struggling with was like friendship issues.
Yeah.
Just like, who am I in like the middle school? Like, man, what's my worth? Like, what purpose do I bring to the world?
Right.
And so like in my wrestle of those questions, I feel like the enemy really got a foothold into my life. And in this season, I really struggled with like depression and just like, who am I? Do I matter to anyone?
Right.
Like, I'm Christian, but like, what does that even mean? You know?
Right.
And the enemy just slowly started to creep in with like all of the good things in my life just turned like black. And like nothing had actually changed in like my situation and the things that I had been walking in.
Right.
But like the enemy just began to like speak and speak in my mind and speak of my situations and speak of who I am. And all before this, like I had been walking with the Lord, like as much as like a middle schooler can do, you know?
Yeah.
But I just really remember like these thoughts started to creep in, and like mid 8th grade year, I started to struggle with self-harm really bad. And I just remember like these thoughts just feel like they were like just pressing like every single night that I'd come home from school, like just pressing, like, you're not worthy, you're not enough, why would anyone ever love you, like your parents don't love you, your church don't love you. Like those things were not true at all. Like I had such a good setup, and like just loving people around me, but the enemy just changed everything that was good to be this evil inside of my life. And so I walked through that year. I kind of just kept getting worse. Like all of the inputs in my life just kept being turned to bad and not of the Lord. I remember just like the addiction to self-harm, and like the lie in my head was like, you deserve this. Like you deserve this pain. Like this is the purpose of your life. Like why are you here? And so that just those pressing thoughts just kept getting worse throughout the year. And I still had a lot of really good influences in my life that would like speak of the Lord and like really, really attempt to walk with me in it. But honestly, like the old like joy of the Lord that I had, like from like since I was born to like before all of this happened, like it just felt so like far gone. And like the things that I like before that, I'd always been I was talking in elementary school about Jesus. Like I loved talking about him.
Church too.
Loved church, was always serving. And like always had a feeling that I'd be in ministry too. Like already had kind of felt that like this is what I want to do. But as I was in this dark season, just everything started to flip. And one lie I really remember was, why would the Lord ever let you walk in that now? Like, why would that be your purpose? Like, only, like, good people do that. Or only, like, you know, the church leaders do that. And so I just really felt this unworthiness to my calling, just to, like, at that time, just tell other people about Jesus and just be, like, a Christian.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I just really felt unworthy of that. And so Christianity for me during that dark season kind of just became, like, a cover-up of, like, I'm Christian. And I used to feel this thing inside of me of, like, man, this is beautiful. I love church. And hope and, like, the light of the Lord inside of me. But then in that season, like, I just turned completely from it because of all of these things of the enemy.
Yeah.
And so in that, like, it just kept getting worse, kept, like, really struggling. And, like, I'm going to fast forward a lot. There was just a lot of that, like, pit of darkness. And I want to emphasize, like, the time of that. Like, it was a long time. But yeah, as I just continued, like, with the people around me and, you know, still going to church every Sunday, eventually I came to just the darkest spot of my entire life. I had been sent to, like, mental hospital. Like, I had to go and get, like, severe help. And in that, like, I just really remember being in that hospital room, and it was, like, dark and cold and just, like, where am I?
What is going on?
How did I get here? And just, like, enemy's lies continuing to pound, like, you're finally where you need to be, like, just awful thoughts. And I really remember in that dark room, like, just for the first time hearing, like, the voice of God. And, like, I've only heard the voice of God, like, that clearly about 2 times in my life. It was, like, almost audible. Like, it was so clear. And it was, like, just me in the room. I just remember he just said, my child, like, I'm here. Come to me. And in that, just, like, all of the cold feelings and all of the things that I was, like, running with and carrying myself, like, I really just sensed, like, his hands asking to take it. And to turn back to him. And honestly, what that process looked like was a very gradual process. Like, I didn't have this moment where it was like, everything's better. Like, I don't struggle with these things anymore. But it was very gradual because I almost didn't trust that voice of God. Like, I was like, the enemy had been so scaled upward in my life.
And loud.
And just, like, why would I ever believe truth about myself? But the Lord just continued, like, as I heard that voice so clearly. It was, like, one of those things where it's, like, you can't deny or run from it because it was so clear and evident. And so I just began to open up a little bit more. I remember, like, my summer camps were a big moment for that. Just of, like, one night at a summer camp, we had to write down everything that was going on in our lives. Which, bro, oh my gosh.
That'll wreck ya.
That'll wreck ya. And basically we had to, like, write down everything on a piece of paper. I remember that moment I was, like, really thinking about that voice that I heard and, like, that light that I felt. And I just felt the grace to, like, just word vomit, like, everything. And, like, the preacher had us write down, like, who's hurt you? Like, what's in your head? And so I wrote down, like,
very specific
every
details,
single specific detail. And at the end of that night, like, the whole gist was you, like, rip up your paper and, like, throw it in the air and dance on top of, you know, the grave, whatever. And, like, as silly and fun as that moment was, like, it really is a huge milestone in my mind of, like, I genuinely believed that I was, like, ripping up these things and saying, I don't know what that light is and I don't know what that voice is exactly, but, like, something was there with me in that hospital room and I think I'm gonna follow it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, just continuing from that moment, I just started to look at the light and started to, you know, just like see what it's like to walk in that way.
Yeah.
And in that, obviously still struggling with like the darkness, but it almost felt like the scale was like being won over by the love of the Lord.
Wow.
And then like one just like more moment that I'll share that really, like, I don't have a ton of memory about this time in my life, but like the final moment that I was like, the scale is like here, but like I want Christ to be like everything
center
of my life. I had never like read the Gospels for myself, and so I remember it was like my sophomore year of high school, so a pretty big time jump, and I just like sat on my bed, and I was like, I'm gonna read the Gospels. Like I've never read it for myself before. I just remember I was sitting there and like opened up like Jesus dying on the cross, and it was like John 3:16, like verses that I've heard my entire life, like, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, like one and only son. And like in that moment I just remember like the strongest sense of God that I have ever felt in my entire life, like just come into that room and just say like, it's true.
Wow.
Like, this is truth.
So good.
And so in that moment, it's like all of these lies that I had just seemed so like far gone and so little to like the truth of God that is being offered to walk in. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a little backstory of my testimony, but I go back to that moment like so much because it changed everything, and it really allowed me to then be brought into this like beautiful calling to just like walk with the Lord, and like walk in truth,
right?
And so I felt called to ministry. I still feel called to ministry. And I remember like I had that huge moment like in my bedroom, and then like immediately like FCA was a huge thing in my school that I like got to lead and be a part of, and just like seeing the hand of God beyond like so many things that I walked in, you know, and yeah, just like kind of walking in that calling of like living with the Lord and walking in truth. So yeah, that's kind of like my word vomit testimony, but
so good. One thing that you guys haven't gotten to see on the pod is, which is interesting because I'm like an extremely emotional person, but like genuinely like Sami, like all of what you spoke, the Spirit of God was carrying your words. And like I'm getting emotional because what God has placed like in this girl is like insane, and there is such like an anointing over her life, but oftentimes the people that are the most called and the most anointed, the enemy like attacks the hardest. And this is why like I made this podcast, is like for those of you who there is something inside of you that the Lord has placed. I don't care who you are. If you're listening, there's something the Lord's placed. And these struggles that come up, and you know, I talk about very specifically these mental health struggles that come up. Like, they're a huge way that the enemy wants to silence. Like, he wants to tell you that your life doesn't have purpose. Like, he wants you to give into this oppression and to live under this. But like, God always has the final say. And oftentimes after walking through a really dark valley, oftentimes coming out of that is the launching point for everything that God's going to do in your life. And so if you're listening, like, hold on a little longer. Fight through like that depression, that anxiety, those suicidal thoughts, like hold on a little bit longer because God's placed something in you. And I believe in that. And so, yeah, this first episode really was just honestly Sami sharing her heart and like giving you kind of this build up as to walk us into this conversation of calling and how do I know what I'm called to? As a young person, we're asking, what are we called to? And what is God's calling in my life? And so honestly, this next episode that we're going to film is just going to be like, how did we discover that? What is it? but Sami, like, I hope you know that, like, what you shared was so powerful. And I'm crying because I know her so deeply, but genuinely, like, I know there's so many of you that have such a similar story. And maybe you haven't seen the redemption, and maybe you haven't seen, like, the, like, God starting to, like, you know, show you the light, but, like, the light is coming. And, like, I think about the verse that talks about, like, in him, like, there is no darkness, right? Like, even dark is his light to him. And, like, I want you to know that even in your darkness, it's not dark to him. It's actually light because he is light himself. And, like, he wants to illuminate those lies in your head, those, like, pounding, racing thoughts. Like, he wants to bring lightness over the oppression. And I just believe for that, honestly, in this episode, truly. So yeah, we're going to head into our next episode. So make sure that you tune in next week. And thank you so much for listening today.